Hello there, magical people. It's Sarah here, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and I am coming to say hi. I have a little midday magic with me. Oh, there it goes. I found myself here online. All right, there we go. And today we are talking a little bit about when witchery doesn't work. Like, why doesn't it work? What are we supposed to do? All of these fun things, right? So, if you are new to these parts or you don't know who I am, like I said, I'm Sarah. I'm the head magic maker at the Sisters Enchanted. And we have been bringing all sorts of magical goodness online to the masses since 2016. And today, I thought it fitting to talk about magical practices that don't work. Or what to do when they don't work. Now, if you're one of our podcast listeners, this week, our episode, Anna and I talked about boundaries and we told a little story of Freya. So if you don't listen to the podcast, be sure to, you could head to thesistersenchanted.com/blog and you can find the most recent episode there. You can also find it at searching magic on the inside. And yes, I've actually been dyeing my hair. Someone's asking me about my hair. I have been coloring my hair now for the last 3 weeks and it's not sticking. I think I have well water and I think it has something to do with it. Also, my hair is graying at a rapid clip. So I think that has something to do with it. And it is actually not as dark as it seems in this light. I'm having an ongoing battle with light in our new workplace. Here, I keep switching rooms and switching light sources. So it is not actually as dark as it looks, but that's a tale for another day. Anyway, magic on the inside. Find our podcast, listen to it, because this week we talked about boundaries. Which does have a lot of to do with what we're talking about today, right? And yes, I think that somebody did just link it up for us as well. I can't see who though. It's being strange. Anyway, so let's talk about when witchery doesn't work, right? What we need to know about that. So many times people come to us with like wanting to know what's the best X, Y, and Z for attracting abundance? What's the best X, Y, and Z for banishing a person from my life? What is the best for getting a job or supporting this person or whatever it is that somebody wants to do, right? And we have answers, of course, and that's all well and good to find the best thing. But I would say that many times the witchery that people are doing fails them if they aren't forming an amazing foundation first from which to build upon. And this is a big topic for us because this month we've been talking about hosting our free video series, Warmth and Witchery. And we have a free class coming up on Monday night where we're going to be talking about fiercely protecting your boundaries, your vision, and your energy for the dark months that are still upon us. More to come here in the winter months, right? And that all has to do with witchery not working. So when witchery is not working, there's often not a great foundation. Or we are desperately trying to apply a band-aid to a situation that needs other things dealt with. So for example, if you say, I don't know, something happened in your life and you really are like, oh my gosh, I could use $1,000 in the worst way right now. So you set up your whole like crystal grid and your abundance altar and you do all these rituals and things like that. Like what could be the real root here? Is the real root that you've got to heal your relationship with money because maybe you would have the $1,000, but every time you have it, you mismanage it. Or maybe the real root is like, for example, if the problem was you needed $1,000 to fix your roof or like replace a refrigerator or something like that. Like what was the real root of the problem? Was the real root that you knew that you needed to do the roof before and it wouldn't have cost $1,000 if you had just done this patch thing, but you didn't do it, you didn't prioritize it, or you didn't fix the thing in your fridge because you didn't prioritize it. So then is the root needing to prioritize, right? So we can see these flash in the pan manifestations or creations when we get like an unexpected refund or we get an unexpected like, oh, you owed this bill, but for some reason now you don't. Or like we get this unexpected money or something like that. But we find ourselves up against situations again and again and again because we've not actually solved the root of the problem. And that's when witchery doesn't work. When you find yourself constantly adding this like band-aid of a band-aid of a band-aid, and you're not solving the root of the problem. And you might be like, well, I'm so great at manifesting things, except that they never work long term, where I find myself in a crunch trying to figure out how to manifest X, Y, and Z just a month later, right? And this because we're not getting to the root of the problem. And that involves some shadow work. It involves protecting one's boundaries. It involves knowing what your vision is. And all of that is going to help you as you move forward in your witchery practice, or your practice of witchcraft, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is for you, your spirituality, your spiritual being, your manifestation, the creation rituals, knowing your vision, knowing your boundaries, doing the shadow work, that's going to help you bring everything into being so that it actually sticks and it works long term. And it's not, you're not finding yourself needing this like, oh, whatever is out there, please help me. I'm going to set all these things. I'm going to spend 3 days writing down my intention 100 times on a piece of paper, trying to bring it into being. It's like an emergency situation. That is never good. Finding ourselves in these like emergency situations where we're emergency trying to bring something into being, right? We really want to think about, what is my vision? What are my boundaries around it? And how can I use my practice, my magical practice, to get me there? And needing to know what are the boundaries that you haven't set, either with yourself or with other people, that are making it so that these sort of emergency magical instances keep popping up for you. What is your vision? What is it that you actually want long term? Like in the moment, yeah, you might want your refrigerator fixed, or you might want your roof fixed, right? Like that's important, and that's what you want right now. But what do you want long term? Long term, you probably want to feel like that you're prepared when emergencies strike, or you want to live in a house that doesn't feel like there's an emergency striking every 2 minutes, or you want to feel confident in your ability to manage your finances when an emergency strikes, or whatever it may be. Maybe it's with your job, right? Here's another example. You have a job, it's like a 9 to 5 job or whatever it is, and it's fine, pays the bills, but suddenly you find yourself in the position, like right now, this is an example, real life example. So, y'all know Anna. She's my sister here, the other sister at the Sisters Enchanted. And she is lucky enough to be able to work from home. But in her son's school grade at school, there was a positive test for COVID. And so now the whole third grade is home until December 1st. Now, my sister's lucky, she does work from home. And actually, she just had a baby, so she's not really working anyway. But let's pretend she was working full time. But if she had a job, she might be finding herself very quickly like saying, okay, I need to manifest an at-home position, or I need to manifest my boss to agree to let me work from home for the next 2 weeks because my kid is home, and what am I going to do? And, everything else might be stable, but finding yourself in this position like, wow, I could really use a change right now. Well, in that moment, when you find yourself in these positions and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I need to manifest quickly, I would suggest pausing, take a step back and say, what is my bigger vision here? What is the bigger thing at play? Is it that, you're finding that really you would love to have more flexibility in your job or your career or your workday going forward all the time? Is it that you would want to be prepared with your finances all the time? Is it that you want to feel confident in managing your finance? Like, what is the bigger thing? And this happens for, all of us at some point in time when we're just like, please, immediate fix would be so helpful right now. But those immediate fixes, they aren't long-term, they're not long-term solutions unless we look at the long-term vision and then we protect our boundaries around that vision. One of the things that we talked about a little bit in the podcast, and I mentioned in our email that went out yesterday, if you received that, if not, go ahead to your inbox and dig it out, but is this idea that I see as witches, or even if you're not a witch, if you're just a witchy person who loves all witchy things or spiritual or whatever you call yourself, you don't have to be a witch to be here with us. We cast circles, we set circles, we do crystal grids, we put out the salt, we use the black and white crystals to like protect our energy. We do the energy bubbles and the light visions and the clearings, and we do all of this stuff, right? But how good are we at setting boundaries in our daily life and setting boundaries around the vision that we want to hold for our future, and then creating that into being? And it feels like often so many of us are just, here's what I need right now. How do I manage this right now? How do I manage my negative energy right now? How do I manage that person's negative energy right now? How do I manage, like just protecting this space or the crystal grid right now? When having a magical practice, doing whatever it is that you do to manifest or create or cast into being, that's a longer term sort of thing, which is why I love working with lunar cycles over a long period of time, because each lunar cycle, we're doing little bits and pieces to bring something into being, right? So witchery, or witchcraft or spells or manifesting or whatever you call it, creation, if we see these little bits where we're like, oh, I'm going to manifest 5 customers if you own a business, or I'm going to manifest 3 job interviews, like maybe you do, but if you find yourself constantly next week, there's something else you need right now, there's something else you need right now, there's something else right now, that's not really working. Because if it was working, you would find yourself sitting up and being like, well, what is it that I need right now? I seem to be taken care of. And that's what you want from your magical practice. You want that feeling of like, well, I am so well supported by myself and the universe or all that is, or whatever you want to call it, that you've gotten to this place of feeling like, well, I don't know, what can I create into being for the greater good for somebody else? Like I have all this energy to give because my energy is taken care of. And that, my friend, is when witchery is working. When we find ourselves just every week, what do I need now? Oh my goodness, now I need this. Now I need this. Now I need this. And that's not to say life is sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. I mean, my life has plenty of bumps every single day. There's bumps in the road. But on a grander scale, there's not something that I sit down and I'm just like, I desperately need this right now that I'm not able to act on and find a solution for, because I'm working like long term, protecting my vision, looking at my boundaries around my vision and keeping it there, right? And focusing on that and working every day to make that happen. What Christina says, it's like when you're sick, you want to treat the thing that's causing you to be sick, not just treat the symptoms. Exactly. I drink some tea. My voice is still recovering from our Halloween class-a-thon this past weekend. We had 2 days back-to-back of classes. We had a belly dancer and a Kundalini yoga, and we had a virtual witches ball that involved lots of dancing, and my body and my voice has been very tired this week. Still recovering. And I have lots of class videos to record after this for our classes too. So I gotta drink that tea up. That's what I can manifest right now, is a not hoarse throat. So Don's saying, I was literally thinking about this 2 days ago, how fluid my life used to be. Let myself get caught up and to clear all that out and focus on the way it does flow. Yeah. And anyway, so we got to thinking, we've been talking so much about, and the reason we've been talking about this more, sorry, I'm all over the place, more at the Sisters Enchanted recently, is because the time we find ourselves in 2020, everything's unpredictable. Like one day you think you're going to work, the next you're not. You think your kid's going to school, the next they're not. You think you're going to Thanksgiving, the next you're not. Like every single day, there's something unexpected that's happening. Something that's throwing us off our gears, it seems like, or off the track, or whatever that's saying. Something's throwing us off each and every day. And it's been a tough year to navigate in that regard. And with the dark winter months, when the days are shorter, the nights are longer, we can't just get outside. There's not, when you get out of work, if you do work a 9-to-5 job, you get out of work and it's already dark out. There's not even that minute of sunshine driving home, or being able to go in your backyard for a few minutes, or out on your patio or your deck, or like at the local park, or however it is that you get outside where you live. We don't have those opportunities as much because it's dark already. And it's cold. It was like 30 degrees here yesterday. It was so cold out. And so just bitter on my skin. And so we're not getting outside. And with all of this stuff that's coming at us, right, it's so much easier to just say like, I'm just going to sit on the sofa. I'm going to have like 4 glasses of wine tonight, eat half a pie. Tomorrow's another day. But then tomorrow comes and then it's dark out again, right? It's dark out again. There's been another hit from 2020. You think you're going to work. Like I said with Anna, suddenly your kid's home because the whole 3rd grade's quarantined at home. And you're like, oh yes, I'm not doing anything today. Another 4 glasses of wine and half a pie. And each and every day, you just find yourself moving farther away from your vision, not holding your boundaries. And what is just so amazing to me is how quick we are to, like I said, put out the bowl of salt. We're so quick to set the crystal grid, do the energy bubble. But what about our actual life boundaries around the vision that we want to hold, the thing we're trying to create into being, the reason we're doing all of this stuff? And where's the boundaries around that? So I got to thinking, and we've been sharing a lot about that because it's more important, more relevant than ever. And yeah, and if you didn't listen to the podcast episode, listen to it, because we tell a story about Freya, and Freya setting her boundaries with Loki and Thor. It's a good story if you're into Norse mythology. So listen in on that for sure, particularly with the holidays. You might be seeing this with the boundaries and family and whatnot. And boundaries can go in all sorts of different ways. Like for us, we had no expectations for family holidays this year. And spoiler alert, my husband and I aren't really into big family holiday gatherings. We prefer to just stick to ourselves anyway. But usually it's hard for us to maintain that boundary because everybody wants us to visit, right? Well, this year, my husband's had Thanksgiving at his mother's house for 39 years, same house, same table. And this year she changed up the plan and didn't even mention it. She was like, oh, you're just not invited and we're going somewhere else. And so it's an interesting way also to look at boundaries around your own emotions, because while we actually prefer not to be going there, there was that jab to the heart of didn't even call us. And it's interesting that you have to consider, well, actually my vision was that we didn't have to do this. So I need to not hang up on my my feelings of being attacked. So boundaries go in all sorts of different ways. They wiggle and they wobble, but you need to protect them, right? So witchery, when it doesn't work, think about what's at the root of the thing that you're trying to solve? What's at the root? What's your vision for that? What do you want that root to grow into? And how are you protecting it? Look, we just made a tree. So what's at the root of the thing that you're trying to solve? And then you plant this tree, that's your vision, what do you want it to look like? And then you're gonna put a nice fence around it, a really nice fence, just like you would a tree in your yard, and you're gonna grow that thing into being. And if it's not growing and you find yourself having to keep digging it up, putting the miracle grow on it, then your witchery is not working long-term anyway. So I also was thinking, and I pulled out all of the eights from my tarot deck here. This is the Everyday Witch Tarot. And because it's an interesting when we look at the eights. So the eights are almost at the, they go to 10, the minor arcana, right? Ace to 10. So eights are on the second half of that story there. And looking at the differences. So the 8 in the major arcana, that's our strength card. So we need strength, right, to establish our boundaries, to look ourselves in the face, to tell ourselves what's actually happening here. Am I actually just panicking because I need $1,000 to fix my roof or my fridge, or because I need a job that lets me be home? Or is there something else here? The fact that I never healed my money relationship, so I have the $1,000 to begin with, or that I actually am working a job that I don't love, and this is just a really good reminder of how much I don't love it. Of course, that's not me. I love my job. The sisters enchanted. But yeah, so we need strength. We need strength to hold that boundary, to set the boundary, and even sometimes to acknowledge what it is that we actually want. We need strength to see our vision. And then we look at the 8 of Wands and the 8 of Swords, right? So these are our more masculine, sort of active. These are our active suits, I guess. I like to use that word over masculine. These are our more active, we're just doing stuff here. And when we look at the act of just doing something without stepping back and figuring out what's at the root of the problem, just almost threw it. I need to step back. We have chaos, right? Fast movement. And fast movement can land beautifully. It can also land not beautifully. We don't really know what's going to happen there. So a little sense of somebody else take control. I'm out of control. I don't really know what's happening. And this idea that we're caged in, although we know we're caging ourselves in. So when we're just acting spur of the moment, and we're not setting those boundaries and casting that vision and working with witchery in a way that's actually going to get us somewhere, we can find ourselves here, versus the long-term work, doing the hard thing of walking away of the things that are keeping us where we are now, keeping us having to keep doing those Band-Aid sort of manifesting situations. We're always now I need to manifest more sleep. Now I need to manifest more money. Now I need to manifest more forgiveness, or letting go of expectations or whatever it is I need to manifest today. It's always something. We need to walk away from that idea that we need to keep manifesting these little things and know that there is work to put in long term to get the thing that we want. And we're perfectly capable of doing that when we use our strength. So, an exercise for you to apply to this little chat today. And if you listen to the podcast episode, totally listen to it. It's on our blog, thesistersenchanted.com/blog. Christina linked it up in the comments, and you can find it just by searching Magic on the Inside, wherever you listen to podcasts. And pull out the 8 cards if you're a tarot person today. And think about, where are you in these? Where are you in these right now? Which 8 are you in your witchery practice? Are you I'm just going to hope for the best and in fast actions? Or are you feeling caged in when really, you're gauging yourself in? Or are you walking away and you're seeing like, no, I need to walk away from these things in order to manifest what I actually want long term and have that beautiful tree grow instead of keep throwing miracle grow on something that I'm hoping will be a tree eventually, and doing that hard work. So pull out your 8s and sort of think, where am I here? And what is it that I've been like desperately wishing I could have lately? And maybe why isn't it coming into being for me? And consider that. All right. So those are my words for you today. I need to drink more tea because there's no way I'm making it through all these class videos that I have to record on this afternoon. And I have lots to record. One of the things we don't lack here at the Sisters Enchanted is class videos. If you're in any of our classes, there's lots of class videos. So lots of tea for me to be drinking today. Anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And if you're not registered for the free class that's happening Monday night, we're going to talk about fiercely protecting your vision, your boundaries, and your energy as these dark months push on, with a little Norse mythology and Viking inspiration in there as well. Head to our podcast where we've been sharing all kinds of Norse mythology stories recently. And that's it. Thanks for hanging with me. I appreciate it. And I hope that you all have a very magical and enchanted rest of your day ahead. And thanks for being part of our community. Bye.